aliens, conspiracies, Illuminati, secret societies, giants, the craziest stuff in the world. And today we're going to get into it. If you want to know the truth, you need to watch this video.
So did you know about the prophecy of the popes? This book in the Vatican archives, right, predicted every single pope from 1143 all the way to our current pope. But the scary thing is, after Pope Francis, the last one, it just says Judgment Day.
So it literally ends after Pope Francis?
Yes. And the creepiest thing inside St. Paul's Basilica, ordering the whole inner sanctuary, is a picture of every single pope, right? But what's weird is that there's only a certain amount of markers where you can put the picture. There's just one left after Pope Francis. They have always said once that last slot is filled, it will be the end of the world. He predicted the time it took to go from the first pope that he wrote about to the halfway mark was 422 years, he's saying. From the middle one to the end, another 422 years will be the end of the world. If you do 422 in the middle pope, which was 1585, that year is 2027. It's even weirder. Pope John the 23rd, he said that the end of the world would happen 2,000 years plus Christ's life. So that adds up to 2027 as well.
Well, despite that being an AI video with fake voices, maybe what they're saying is true. Who knows? 2027, we got 3 years, guys. Let's make the most of it. Woo!
Did you know that Lucifer is not the only prince of hell? And even more terrifying, he is far from being the worst of them. Hidden within the ancient pages of a medieval grimoire called the Key of Solomon, there are chilling descriptions of the 7 princes of hell. These beings are not mere demons. They are rulers of vast infernal legions, each wielding devastating power. Among them is Mammon, the prince of greed and corruption. Mammon is not just a demon. He is the very embodiment of an insatiable lust for wealth, power, and injustice. It is said that he was a fallen angel, seduced by the allure of earthly treasures. What is even more disturbing is that his influence is not confined to the spiritual realm. Mammon walks the earth, seeking souls to corrupt. His temptations are subtle, often disguised as irresistible offers of wealth and prosperity. In the Gospels of Luke and Matthew, Jesus warns us, you cannot serve both God and Mammon. This is because Mammon represents the worship of material wealth, something that consumes the soul. But there's an even more unsettling detail. Mammon is a master of disguise. He can take on any form, human or animal, silently infiltrating people's lives. If someone around you begins acting strangely, be cautious. It could be the dark presence of Mammon lurking nearby, ready to claim another lost soul. These were the last words that Satan whispered to Jesus before the crucifixion. Satan said to Jesus, "Jesus, I must admit, there is something I will miss about you. Without your presence in the world, I see your people bowing down to false religious leaders as if they were gods. They will blindly follow thieves, murderers, and charlatans who will take over your temples on earth. They will worship celebrities who produce nothing of true value. They will seek remedies that do not heal, and elect rulers who only care about filling their own pockets while neglecting those in need. These humans will become so miserable that they won't even know the names of those who prepare their food, who care for them when they are ill, or who keep faith in you alive. I have a proposal for you, Jesus. Give me the souls of those who worship these false idols after their deaths, and in return, all those who do not will have free passage to heaven with you." There was a brief pause, and then Jesus looked into Satan's eyes with deep sadness. With a gaze full of compassion, Jesus replied, "Comment and follow to watch part 2.
No! You know what? You, man. I'm not going to watch part 2. You know I'm not. You know why? Because I have to go all the way to your profile and I have to find it. Because you guys don't link them. You don't link part 2 with part 1. You just don't do it. I hate it. I hate that so much. Ugh.
Skeptics denounced it as a mere children's fable, until the emergence of this footage, dated 1912. Many theories arose concerning the creature's origins and purpose. The most widely accepted was that of a watchful guardian, protecting the city from foreign invaders. But the evidence found in the Alps suggests something else entirely.
So I've seen a lot of stuff about the Mothman. And some of it says he's actually a good person, like a good person, a good Mothman. Some say he's bad because he's a cryptid. Some people say he's like an angel. Some people say he like protects people. I don't know enough about the Mothman to make any judgment. I don't want to judge someone prematurely, you know, just because the guy's got wings and big red eyes and looks like a bug, and I hate bugs, so I don't want to be around bugs, and let alone a bug that's as big as a person. Either way, I don't want to judge. So you tell me what I need to think about the moth person, man, moth woman, but. The giant moth.
Even if I'm dead, nobody will go upstairs.
Surprisingly, someone managed to break into the second floor of Elvis Presley's mansion. After Elvis passed away, his mansion was completely sealed off, and no one could enter. Years later, the mansion was opened to the public. but one area remained off limits. The second floor. This area includes Elvis's bathroom and bedroom, and the bathroom is where Elvis passed away, right next to his master bedroom. Even presidents and high-ranking officials were denied access. Only those closest to Elvis were allowed upstairs. However, when Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, married actor Nicolas Cage, Nicholas was granted special access to the second floor. On the night of the 25th anniversary of Elvis's death, Nicholas made a secret visit upstairs. It is said that Nicholas took a brief look at the bathroom and sat in Elvis's chair, seemingly discovering something. Afterward, Nicholas came downstairs and vomited profusely, adding to the mystery of the whole situation.
Maybe he found like a 60-year-old pill that Elvis left on the counter. That's so screwed up. That's such a messed up thing to say. Maybe he found some old popcorn and couldn't help himself from eating it and got sick.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds about right. It's pretty much everything we already know. Oh, man. It gets so, like, taxing, like, watching UFO documentaries because it's like that damn Finding Bigfoot show. It's just like they never find Bigfoot. And they did, I think, in that show. I watched a video talking about it, and it was quite literally and very clearly a guy in a suit, which is so dumb. But, yeah, it's all the same stuff. It's just people saying the same stuff, man, and not disclosing anything new. And I feel like the only way to really get, like, real is from like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram Reels and stuff, because anything the government leaks out is just going to be horse. You know what I mean? It's just up to regular people that happen to record stuff on their phone or record, experiences they had that are really going to give us the real news. So I'm very thankful for social media. And I never thought I would say I'm thankful for TikTok because I don't hang out on TikTok. I just go to it for like bit clips and stuff, but I don't ever like spend time on it. So I can't really say like, oh, I love TikTok, but I'm very thankful for it, for the kind of videos and news, I guess you could say, like real news that it allows us to receive from the everyday person like you and myself.
Why do you think so many people are starting to remember their time in the gifted and talented education programs? If you don't already know, there was something called the GATE program that many people were in as children. And there are a lot of us who are starting to wake up to the fact that this program was much weirder than we thought. You might not even remember it right now until you are shown images like these. I think that there are a few reasons behind this, and realistically, it's probably a combination of all of them, and the last one being very conspiratorial, so if you don't like that kind of stuff, get on out of here before the end of the video. The most obvious one is what we're doing right now. Social media has connected us more than we've ever been connected before in human history, and it allows random people like me to talk to random people like you and share our stories, compare notes, and that's where we are realizing that things are not adding up. This doesn't make sense, even if just evidenced by the fact that so many of us have little to no memories of the program. And by hearing someone else speak about it, it jogs your memory and you realize, oh no, I was in that. The second thing that I find super interesting is just how many of us went through this program and then later in life decided to explore things like meditation, hypnosis, and plant medicines. And some people theorize that this was part of our conditioning that we went through as kids, and that is why we go on to do it again, because it feels like almost home to us, which could be true. But I personally think that on some subconscious level, we all have this need to connect our memories. We feel fragmented on some level, and that is why we seek out out these other modalities to try and put all the pieces back together as a whole. And through this exploration, we are able to recall these memories that have been buried deep. Now, the conspiracy theory that I love to think about is they're deliberately erasing our memories from the program. Some people think that it maybe was the hypnotherapy that they gave us in our hearing tests. Other people think that it's due to the little pink drink that they gave us in those paper cups. That was a fluoride dental treatment. Maybe it was both. And I can't help but wonder if whatever they did to erase our memories had an expiration date, and it is wearing off now. And that is why so many of us are waking up to the oddities of our childhood and the fact that the gifted and talented programs were not what they were sold to us as. But I'm willing to entertain all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories, so if you think it was something even weirder than what I just said, I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, hold up. The pink drink. I remember that now. What? So I'm 39 years old, right? Like they used to have us do these like super weird, I don't know, I definitely went through it, where I had the headphones on and it made me look at these like little shapes and stuff. And I definitely drank a pink drink. I remember that now. Holy what? Hold on. I gotta find another one of these. Hold on. This is wild. This is like the first theory I think that I've ever watched that has actually like kind of set me back. Like, holy like I remember that. Like, what?
Were you pulled out of class and tested as part of the Gifted and Talented GATE program? Here's some deja vu. Listen to this.
This is the first step along your path to a gateway.
Does that sound
A
familiar?
gateway beyond which is discovery. Your own discovery of reality, of truth, of who and what you are.
Do you remember doing the tests with the colored yarn on the pegboards or the little wooden boards with the nails when you were doing the audio test? Or did they have you do the flashcards where you were supposed to try and guess the colors and the shapes? Were you actually tested as part of a Gifted and Talented program, or were they actually testing to see, as part of a government program, if you had telepathy? If this is familiar to you, let me know.
All right, yo, that one legitimately freaked me out. This stuff's all fun and games for me. Like, I don't believe most of this stuff, you know, right away, like initially. Like, I try to look at everything from like a unbiased perspective, and if it's something I do believe, I'll let you know. If it's something I truly don't believe, like flat Earth, I'm still learning. I'm still open to it. I'm just not there. And there's a lot of stuff, if I don't believe it, I'll look at it and try to think like, okay, like what would have to happen in this theory with all this information I have for me to believe it, right? Like I try to be very open about everything and see it from other people's perspective. But this is the first one that has actually given me chills and freaked me out. Because I remember all of that. I remember the damn yarn. I remember the pink drink they gave me afterward. Why would they give us like a dental flush after a hearing test? That doesn't make any sense to me now. I mean, it makes sense now, but looking back, like why would those two things be incorporated with one another? Dude, this is this is seriously freaking me out. Like I'm shook right now. I'm not even kidding. Like this is wild. Send me more videos about the stuff, please. I really need to learn more about this. I don't know if I'm ready to learn more about this, seeing as it's something that I definitely experienced and didn't remember or even think about until right now. But I definitely need to learn more about it.
They'll orchestrate an alien invasion to save humanity. You're saying right when humanity is on the verge of its collapse, aliens will show up and save us from ourselves?
That's exactly it. So the oligarchs have this plan to keep pushing the world to its brink. The economy, the environment, the food supply, the energy crisis, everything is going to get worse. People will be at their wits' end. Even the rain will stop thanks to their engineering. There'll be droughts everywhere. That's when the oligarchs will claim to have been contacted by an extraterrestrial force. Aliens warning humanity, change your ways or the planet's doomed. But here's the thing, it's all part of the script. The goal is to make us so desperate, so broken, that we'll beg for salvation. And that's when they'll introduce the new world they've been planning all along. No more borders, no more wars, no private property, no cash, no gold. It'll sound like a utopia. But the catch, you can't opt out. The oligarchs will present it as humanity's only hope, a chance to save the planet and unite as one species under a single system. At first, it'll seem perfect. No more poverty, no more war, no more borders dividing people. And so when this alien intervention happens, it won't be an invasion, it'll be a handover. But here's the twist. If you don't want to be part of the system, you'll become an outcast. No money, no property, no access to resources. They'll frame it as progress, but in reality, it's total control. Because it's not about saving the planet. It's about turning the entire world into a machine. Every human, every resource, every thought, engineered and controlled. The oligarchs won't just rule nations anymore. They'll rule existence itself. And those beings they're working with, they'll feed on it. And these aliens, they're not from outer space. They're from right here. The oligarchs have known about these beings for a long time. Whatever they are, they've been working with the oligarchs for centuries, pulling strings from behind the curtain, setting the stage for this exact moment.
From inside the house, look at this. If this isn't a UFO, staring into the home. This is crazy, bro. This is knuckin' butts. I've never seen anything like this in my life. That is actually wild.
Their plan is to create, eventually, an hoax, a threat from outer space, to try to unite the world, like Independence Day, the movie, in a sort of a military global junta of humans against aliens. It's all nonsense. It's BS. But it sells well. It sells movies, it sells tickets, it sells books.
This is the Blue Beam, Project Blue Beam?
Yeah, that related to that. And I've met with many men who've been on operationally, like literally have been operational on those programs. Now, it went from really clunky stuff, like the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. People think that was alien. It wasn't. It was us.
I'm saying back to them, like, just trust me. You guys don't understand, right? Like, we've been lied to. Trust me, you'll see what's ahead. They're going, buddy, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we're just going to come back up around the other side of the globe. You know, they're telling me we're going to hit the Indian Ocean, Australia, right? They were thinking in terms of the global model. But this is where it gets crazy, you know, as they realize I ain't stopping. One of the other pilots says to me, he goes, listen, you land that thing now. We sign an NDA and go home. Act like this never happened. But go ahead, continue forward if you must, but just know it's a one-way ticket. You ain't ever coming back.
What did you do?
What I set out to. I could see the wall by this point. There was no turning back. And as I fly over the wall, the other jets behind me just hit wide pivots to turn around, and the pilot radios me one last time. He goes, crazy son of a... Good luck, kid. And I mean, look, I just soar off into no man's land. I'm baffled. I'm seeing land masses that have never been accounted for. The navigational equipment on the jet is no longer working, but I know as long as I stay due south, I'll reach Panthea. I'll reach the Dark Continent. And lo and behold, 30 or so hours later, sun goes down and it never comes back up. I start to drop my altitude to get a better view, and there she was. I saw the dark lands. I saw everything that Hemington had spoke of. Look, I landed the jet on a clear landscape, and before I even had a chance to get out, there they were. The pantheons Hemington spoke of, stepping in slowly.
Okay, so hear me out. What if Project Bluebeam isn't just a fake alien invasion? What if it's an assisted staged invasion event, like worldwide, that the world leaders are working with the aliens on? So maybe they're just working more strategically, like playing chess in order to take over the world and manipulating and offering technology to the world leaders to gain control, basically with our unknown permission, instead of just coming down and like firing upon everything and, you know, making us scared and fight back and stuff.
Project Bluebeam is being used to introduce and normalize satanic holograms at concerts. Check this out.
That's not a hologram, bro. That is being projected on a screen. And that's Nima. He's super dope. His visuals are super tight and his music's super dope too. So you're dumb. Tell me you've never been to an EDM show without telling me you've never been to an EDM show.
So UFOs are real, and they've been here a long time, and that's the truth. But the lie is coming. All indications, like all of them, is that that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe.
The United States, if everything works well, over the next 3 or 4 months, is going to completely break. It's going to be a very bad situation with regard to the ability of the country to sort of stay together. Pieces are going to break apart. It'll happen after the election, over the next 3 or 4 months. Europe is going to, yeah, they just want me to say it. Europe is going to break apart. There's going to be armed conflict and other things happening in Europe. There is going to be a spillover into the Middle East war. So the Middle East war is going to get much worse. There's a possibility that something could happen elsewhere, but those three should be the onset of these crises. When these crises happen, and they happen all at once, can I say? Yeah, they want me just to say it. They're looking at three major disclosure movements. They want the truth to what happened with JFK to come out. That will start things. Then, after that, 9/11. All of this stuff is available on Farsight so that people can find out what happened with JFK, what happened with 9/11, but they want it to spill out in terms of those things being realized by the masses. The powers that be shouldn't be able to control that information. And the final major disclosure thing is the extraterrestrials. It's not, are the extraterrestrials existing? Do they exist? That's all garbage that comes out from the bad ETs trying to control things, kick the can down the road. What they're talking about is control, is disclosure, is total disclosure of what the bad ETs have been doing for thousands of years, including all of the control and manipulation of humanity to keep this planet as a prison. And this can only happen if there's a catastrophic disclosure situation. And they want us to know, they want the world to know, that they're responsible for the condensing of all of these crises to happen at once. And they want the world to know that we are part of that. And we are part of the information that humanity will need to have to answer what actually happened when all of these crises have happened over thousands of years. We're the library that answers humanity's questions that they're going to have.
Wait, so the aliens are in charge then, and are kind of leading us in this direction to where the government can have like a one world government, new world order, like just full control of us, but they're answering to extraterrestrials? Bro, I feel like, honestly, I feel like if an alien mothership just like landed on top of the world and they're like, surrender, the majority of people would be like, all right, calm down, bro. Like, chill. All right. I feel like you don't even need to do all this like Project Bluebeam stuff. Just like, yo, we will literally disintegrate your planet. I'll snap my slimy long green finger and you're gone if you don't comply. And I feel like most people would be like, all right, most people don't want no smoke with no aliens, you know? Yeah, dog. All that drone stuff was fucking weird. It reminds me of like the Spider-Man movie with like Mysterio, like all the drones that form holograms to make it look like that stuff's happening. I'm testing it, man. Just testing it.
Bluebeam project is about to come to fruition. There is a theory that at some point in the near future, global elites will use hidden and highly sophisticated technology to simulate an extraterrestrial invasion on Earth in order to assert their dominance and conquer the world. When the staged extraterrestrial invasion begins, a false messiah will emerge amidst the chaos in each country, and this individual will have the power to protect the people and halt the invasion. The false messiah will then become the leader of the New World religion, ultimately uniting the world under a single religion as the Antichrist, as described in Apocalypse. The increased presence of UFOs in recent years is seen as a sign that global elites are training their system to be flawlessly prepared for the final invasion. Additionally, the growing development of advanced technologies, such as artificial intelligence and 5G, is believed to be aimed at perfecting a simulated extraterrestrial invasion that will deceive the entire planet into believing in the false messiah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't want that. Do you want that to happen? I don't want that to happen. It's so crazy. Like, if this is true, there's so much stuff on the internet about it. Like, there's so many people talking about it. Like, the government knows that people know about it. But I think they just depend so much on people thinking it's bullshit that they just know, like, people are going to let it happen anyway. Like with the jab. Just saying. Just saying. People said things about it. Everyone called them crazy. Afterward, all that stuff they were saying was true. Just saying. You're only a conspiracy theorist until the truth comes out. Then you're an expert.
In a historic and unprecedented decision, the President of the United States has mandated the complete declassification of all information concerning Area 51. This executive order has reignited long-standing debates about extraterrestrial life, mysterious government projects, and the secrets hidden in one of the most restricted locations on Earth. The directive includes the release of decades' worth of documents, photos, and footage from the enigmatic Nevada facility. Early leaks have already captivated the world, revealing evidence of strange metallic artifacts, unidentified biological specimens, and footage of aerial phenomena that defy the laws of physics. Social media platforms are buzzing with theories. Some claim this is proof of ancient alien contact, while others suggest advanced human-made technologies that governments have concealed for decades. Conspiracy theorists and skeptics alike are scrambling to interpret the first wave of revelations. As more data is set to be released in the coming days, anticipation continues to grow. Will humanity finally learn the truth about extraterrestrial life? Or are we being distracted from something even more significant? The mystery surrounding Area 51 has never been closer to resolution. What secrets will be unveiled next? Comment truth if you believe this is the breakthrough moment, or hoax if you think it's all a diversion.
Woo! It's about time. It's about fucking time, everybody. I'm so excited to go through all those. So excited. But then again, if it is like a military facility and those secrets are to keep the country safe and secure, like if it's like weapons and stuff to like protect us from other invading countries, like for like a war or something, probably not the best idea to release all of it. I'm just saying.
There's a theory why they actually took down TikTok for that little period.
Why?
Apparently, like, they didn't even have to ban, or they didn't have to take it down.
Okay.
Because they never got like a notice from the government saying, yo, let's take it down. So them taking it down was almost the litmus test to see how it would go.
Okay.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Now, the theory is the reason they did that, though, was because there's too many real conspiracies on the app that were becoming way too popular.
Okay.
And they just wanted to reset everybody's algorithm.
Word.
So a lot of people on TikTok right now, they're saying they used to have all of these TikToks of conspiracy theories, LA fires, Diddy, Luigi, and there was so much at once.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stop that from becoming popularized if that's what's going viral, right? So what happens to everyone's For You page? Goes deeper and deeper into conspiracy, into almost like breaking down government secrets.
Because that's what the algorithm would feed that person.
Exactly. And it's popularizing that mindset of looking like that.
That's crazy. They just don't want man's informed. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So what people are saying was that reset was to make everybody's For You page different.
Okay.
And to change everyone so that they can just push more whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy because like usually I do my research on TikTok before I come in the podcast, like some YouTube, some TikTok, but like directly TikTok. And there are some conspiracy theorists that I usually like take like I research stories from. And yo, you have to, it's like they're shadow banned. Like you got to search for them. But I actually had to search up his profile, like his whole name, type in his whole name.
You know, it's crazy. I noticed that yesterday myself. So I get a lot of videos you guys send me, but I also do my own stuff, right? I go on TikTok and look stuff up. And before TikTok shut down, it took a very long time, but my TikTok was literally nothing but conspiracy stuff. I don't follow any other accounts other than like conspiracy accounts. And like now when I go, like my For You page is literally just like a bunch of stuff I don't care about with like the occasional conspiracy thing. So it's like I'm retraining the algorithm to show me what I wanted to show me. And it was like awesome before the shutdown. So
this was the real life saw. During the 1930s, an inventor named Henry Warren moved to Granville, Ohio. He lived a lonely life in an old Victorian house on the edge of town. His arrival made the locals uneasy, who couldn't shake the feeling that something was strange about him. For years, odd events haunted the town. People reported hearing strange noises at night, and a series of disappearances remained unexplained. Most residents thought these incidents were just accidents or runaways. But when a drifter named Carl Davis vanished near Warren's property, suspicions turned toward the reclusive inventor. James Randall, the local detective, was brought in to investigate. On the night of August 3rd, 1936, Detective Randall made his move. He approached the house under the cover of darkness, found an open basement window, and slipped inside. The basement was filled with odd contraptions, and as he looked around, Randall discovered a lever hidden behind debris. He carefully pulled it, activating a hidden mechanism. The walls shifted, revealing compartments containing remains and a maze of devices meant to trap anyone caught in Warren's twisted games. Stunned, Randall turned to leave, but as he reached the window, he stopped cold. Standing in the corner was Henry Warren, his face calm and unreadable. At that moment, Randall knew his nightmare had only just begun. The way he managed to escape this situation will leave you speechless. Drop your thoughts in the comments and share for part 2. What these three kids did was pure evil. In 1966 in Bisbee, Arizona, there were three ill-tempered kids. Locals called them the Little Demons. From age 5, they showed a cruel side, often harming small animals in the woods. Other kids were terrified and stayed away. Their parents believed it was harmless mischief, and most townspeople stayed silent due to the family's influence. But the Little Demons' behavior grew worse. One day, children from town went missing. The last time anyone saw them, they were with the Little Demons. With no solid evidence, local police couldn't investigate deeply, but Officer Ethan Miller refused to give up. He watched the families secretly, day after day. One night, the parents of the three kids gathered together, and Ethan felt something was off. He called for backup. They discovered a hidden basement and found the missing children. But as Ethan looked deeper, he uncovered something even more chilling. Want the full story? Share this and drop your thoughts in the comments.
Literally just TikTok's giving us blue balls. These channels never give you a part 2. They're fun stories. I don't know if these stories are particularly like based on real events, but they never fucking finish them. Ever. They never finish them. So it's like all just clickbait, but it's like fun. So like I like torturing myself, like watching these. I'm like, oh, I want to know what happens, and then nothing, right?
We got to talk about what the real NASA is doing in our oceans. First of all, the NASA you know of does not exist. It's all a lie. The real NASA is actually the National Anunnaki Subversion Agency. Yeah, let that sink in because we're about to go deeper. NASA have found Anunnaki artifacts and technology on Earth, and most of it is in the sea. NASA, under the guise of space exploration, is actually involved in uncovering and suppressing evidence of ancient astronaut contact between the Anunnaki and early human civilizations. Do you not think that it's weird that we supposedly know more about the surface of Mars and the Moon than our own oceans? Don't you think it's strange that only 5% of the sea has been explored, but they send probes out to space? That's because it's all kept. They know exactly what's down there, and they don't want us sniffing around and realizing our true potential as humans. Let me make something clear. NASA never stopped exploring the oceans. The sudden halt in deep-sea missions was a strategic move to prevent these discoveries from becoming public. You all need to know that what they have discovered in our oceans is so monumental that it would shake humanity to its core. And again, this is just for entertainment purposes.
So, sure, I agree. Sure. No doubt NASA's lying to us about stuff. But when he's like all serious and like proper and he's like, the story's down here. And then he's like, y'all need to recognize. It's like, bro, like, come on. Bro, how are you going to like type y'all in the AI translator to get like a proper like old English man to read it back? That just threw me off. It was way funnier than it should have been.
So a whistleblower revealed that they was part of a secret operation to retrieve an egg-shaped UAP. And where did all this transpire? In Antarctica. Where do you think? So allegedly, these group of people went to Antarctica, to a cave in Antarctica, to a cave in Queen Elizabeth's range in Antarctica. And allegedly, when they got to this cave had hieroglyphs and petroglyphs on the walls and on the egg. And allegedly, they found an alien sleeping. Anytime and every time that I hear of anything going on in Antarctica, it always gives me the chills because it's something about Antarctica. Now, I don't know if this is 100% true story, but what I do know is everything that I am seeing right now, you can search and you can see the pictures and you can see the egg and you can see etc., etc., etc. Now, you got to remember, anybody that's familiar with this topic, we just had people come out and say that they were egg-shaped UAPs. So once again, this story is sounding very, very familiar. But to anybody that's interested, do some research and jump back in these comments.
I did just see something recently about this egg-shaped craft that they found in a cave. There were a couple pictures, and somebody basically ran them all through like an AI test to see if it was like AI generated or if it was like a real photo, and they turned out to be real photos. They ran them through like multiple tests to see if they were like doctored in any way, and it said they were real, and it was literally an egg. It looked like a giant egg in a fucking cave. So that's pretty wild if you think about that. Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on, dude. There's so much crazy. Like, the fact that Trump is releasing all this stuff, I don't know if he's just like thinks that we deserve it, or if it's like to distract us from something big that's going on somewhere else, or what. But it's pretty cool to see all this stuff that we've been wanting to get disclosed, even though obviously we're not getting all of it. You know, there's a lot of documents with things blacked out that, you know, are still a secret for whatever reason. But at the very least, it feels good getting the JFK files, the Area 51 files, the Martin Luther King stuff. I think it's all happening because all of us keep pushing for it. So let's keep creating this kind of stuff and talking about this kind of stuff and sharing this kind of stuff and getting it to the top of everyone's feed.
Will you let us know if there's aliens? Because this is the only thing I really want to know.
I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
Will you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on?
Well, I'll have to think about that one.
I
It
should say
sounds
one
like
now.
a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it.
When it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you on air. The truth is that when I came into office, I asked. There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they move, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. People still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is.
After 30 years at the helm of the Israeli space security program, and after receiving 3 Israeli security awards, retired Israeli general and respected professor Chaim Eshed is now unveiling that yes, there are aliens among us, yes, Israel has made contact with them, and no, humanity is not ready for them. Also, before you start doubting his words, the 87-year-old Eshed was clear in his recent interview with Yediot Ahronot News that he's not talking about immigration, but rather about a galactic federation complete with an underground base on Mars, where there are American and alien representatives apparently present. He also explains that President Trump both knows about them and was on the verge of disclosing their existence, only to be persuaded not to by the Federation.
I mean, I feel like no matter how bad you want to tell someone about aliens, if you know about them, if those same aliens tell you not to, you're going to have to be like, okay, bro, I won't. I promise. Because if a big scary gray or a Nordic white alien tell me not to do something, I'm going to be like, all right, bro, fair enough. I didn't see anything. I didn't see
What is your message to Trump tonight?
Disclosure. America deserves to know the facts, and I believe we are not alone. I don't know at what point. I think in God's great universe, I don't believe we're the greatest thing he's ever created. I think that's very arrogant on our part. And President Trump has confided that, in fact, he will be releasing some of these, and I plan to have that conversation again with him very soon. And I would like to see
something recently that basically said nuclear explosions mess with like the fabric of space-time. So like it doesn't only affect us here on Earth, but it affects literally the entire universe. Maybe solar system, maybe not universe. I don't know how far that stretches. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but that would be the reason essentially why extraterrestrials don't want us using it, because it screws up stuff for them too, you know, especially if they're here and have bases here and have been here longer than we have, which a lot of people think, and I think as well. That would make sense that they would want to be like, yo, chill out, bro, like relax with the nukes. Maybe don't do that because you're throwing off my groove here, really screwing up the feng shui of the place. So I could see that. I could see some extraterrestrial interference.
Had the opportunity over the years to interview, again, people who have worked at the test site at Groom Lake. One gentleman spent 12 of his 30 years in black programs at Groom Lake. When I asked him, I said, first of all, I said, do you believe in UFOs? And he looked at me with a straight face and one-on-one, he said, absolutely, positively, they do exist. So can you expand upon that? And he said, no, I can't. About a year later, we were talking about, again, activities at Groom Lake. And I asked him, I said, you know, can you really tell me what's happening out there? He said, well, there's a lot of things that are going on there that I won't be able to tell you until the year 2025. But we have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envious.
So I think there are lots of interesting discoveries, biological, on Earth, and other discoveries in the heavens that those of you who are younger will get to see unfold. You'll have all kind of problems with them, but on balance it'll be a plus. And it'll make life much more interesting.
We weren't simply dealing with visitations from interplanetary intelligence.
we were dealing with visitations from interstellar intelligence. We were probably dealing with intelligences intergalactic in nature. And the most stunning thing of all was very probably and most likely that some of these advanced intelligences were literally multidimensional in their origins. And some of them apparently, and we had evidence to support this, literally could indeed travel in time. Now, if you think that wasn't a hair-raiser, a blockbuster for some of our military planners, it was really getting their attention. Not only are we dealing with interstellar, intergalactic, but we're dealing with multidimensional beings who apparently can indeed travel in time.
So if extraterrestrials can time travel and also go through different parallel dimensions and things just when they choose to, do you think that they choose the best universe and the best leader, like world leader at the time, to work with? Or do you think that they just kind of like zap around to like places that we need it the most in order to prevent us from destroying ourselves for whatever reason? I assume it's to their benefit. Keeping us around is to their benefit. Maybe because we're a slave race or something. I don't know. But you figure if you have that much control over where you can be in any time or space, you would strategically pick locations to interfere that would best support you and your goals and your future, instead of just like randomly popping somewhere and being like, oh, this is screwed up, let's maybe work on this.
Did you go through the secret files, the UFO documents? Because if I was president, that'd be the first thing I did.
You know, it's funny. My daughters asked the very same question.
They did?
Yeah.
UFOs. You've been the president. You've seen all the info. Are they real?
The truth is that we've never proved one, but there are things flying around up there that we haven't fully identified yet.
Would you be allowed to tell your daughters what was in those files?
No.
You would not?
No.
Now that you're out of office, you can do anything you want, right?
True, yeah. But I'm not telling you.
You're not telling me. You're not telling me what? Are you not telling me that you looked at them?
I'm not telling you nothing.
If I was the president, and it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen. You never know. My hand would just, it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and UFOs, and I go through everything to find out what happened. Right. Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president. That's the first thing that you would do.
If you become president, are you really going to tell the truth about UFOs?
I have said I want to open the files as much as we can. But there are enough stories out there that I don't think everybody is just sitting, in their kitchen making them up.
Recently, when UFOs came up on Jimmy Kimmel, she corrected his terminology.
And there's a new name. It's unexplained aerial phenomenon.
All this talk about dem aliens with the what are they, UAFs or whatever they call them, all the footage and everyone talking about it. It's like, but I was wondering if you have a theory about that.
Well, when it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you on air.
What's your viewpoint on what these objects that seem to defy all laws of physics are?
Well, first of all, that's a legitimate question now. The short answer, but not the most meaningful one, is I don't know about this. But when I was president and I had a chief of staff, John Podesta, who loved science fiction, we made every attempt to find out everything about Roswell. And we also sent people to Area 51 to make sure there were no aliens in a deep... there's no aliens, as I know.
So did you look? Did you see? Did you explore?
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President Clinton said he did go right in, and he did check, and there was nothing.
Well, that's what we're instructed to say.
Are there really great secrets that you know that you can't share with people?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. And you never write about them?
No.
Maybe at a time in your life that you're like, oh, I'm 90, I'm going to do it.
No.
No, nothing. What if you were to get like a little like loopy, you get old and...
Start drinking
you
again?
Did you ask about that?
Certainly asked about it.
And?
Can't tell you.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, I'll take that as a yes. He said he wouldn't answer the question. I said, well, that's a yes. Because if there were none, you'd say there was none, right? You just played your hand. I thought you were a poker player. You just won 100%. Showed your river card.
Feel free to think that.
I do.
Exact same way. I think that they are just like testing to see if if they admit there are actual aliens living amongst us, how we're going to take it. Granted, I don't per se agree with keeping information from citizens of a country. I think that we should know. We should clearly be in control of the outcome of the country, right? The government's supposed to work for us. So keeping things from us, not great. But as far as seeing if people can handle something that revolutionary without causing mass hysteria, I understand. It's like breaking the news to your parents that you are not going to college when they want you to, or some other thing that would like shatter their world essentially, right? But on a much larger scale. People will be frantic. People will start looting. They'll think the world's ending because there's aliens here, because the movies have essentially showed them that most of the time when aliens are around, it's a bad thing, right? So if it is a good thing, I can see most people just freaking out. So in order for them to like test to make sure that we're not going to freak out and like destroy the country because there are aliens living amongst us for the past 100,000 years or whatever, I could see them wanting to keep it from us. Do I agree? No, they should absolutely tell us everything's going on. I know that they can't tell us like every military secret, but as far as like declassifying alien files and letting us know like, oh yeah, Antarctica, there's basically a hole to the middle of the earth where there's a civilization of advanced beings living there that have been here way longer than we have and things like that. Yeah, just definitely. Yeah, we should definitely know that. I'll take what I can get at this point. I'll take small disclosure so long as it's real and not a diversion. I'll take what I can get at this point, because for so long they denied everything and didn't tell us anything. So I just hope what they're telling us is real.
In the beginning, there was no us, only them. They came not as creators, but as conquerors. They reshaped the world, not out of benevolence, but necessity. And in their image, they made us. But why? What did they see in this pale blue dot floating in the void? And what did they leave behind when they were gone? This is not a story of gods. This is a story of engineers, geneticists, architects of life itself, the Anunnaki. According to the Sumerians, the Anunnaki descended from the heavens over 400,000 years ago. They created workers. Enki, the chief scientist, took the primitive hominids of Earth and altered their DNA. He spliced it with Anunnaki genes, creating a hybrid species. We were tools, slaves. The evidence is written in our genes. They were beings of flesh and blood, with advanced technology and a clear agenda. The question isn't whether they existed. The question is, what did they want with us? Thousands of years later, their legacy lives on in our myths, our religions, our DNA. The Anunnaki may have left, but their fingerprints are everywhere. And perhaps they are not as gone as we think.
Because you're going to get all kinds of New Age people, all kinds of people who love Anunnaki. They're going to give you a different definition of Anunnaki. This new race created by fallen Anu Elohim is called the Anunnaki, meaning Avengers of Anu, because that's what the Anu Elohim is, because that was their original name. Like, let me show you on my diagram. They're 11-dimensional dark avatars, and humans are in the 3rd dimension. They're an 11-dimensional avatar, and their original name was Anu. The internet calls it ANU. The Guardians spell it with a Y in there. And they are literally called feline aquatic apes. These feline aquatic apes fell and renamed themselves. And the Anu Elohim created a child race called Jehovian Anunnaki.
The more I hear about the Anunnaki, the more I believe it. I think out of everything I've ever heard as far as the origins of humanity, I think the Anunnaki story is the one that makes the most sense to me, which sounds insane. It sounds insane that the one that makes the most sense to me is an alien race coming here and making a slave race out of early hominoids and splice their DNA to mine gold to repair their atmosphere on a planet that rotates in an oval instead of a circle. I'm aware. It sounds crazy.
Each factor is named after the rhesus monkey in which it was first discovered. Its presence in humans suggests a shared evolutionary link with other primates. But if that's the case, why do some people completely lack it? While most people carry the Rh factor, a protein found on the surface of red blood cells, a small percentage of the population, around 15% globally, do not. The prevailing scientific theory suggests that Rh-negative blood emerged as a random mutation thousands of years ago, primarily in European populations. However, skeptics argue that the distribution and peculiar traits associated with Rh-negative individuals point to a more complex explanation. People with Rh-negative blood are often linked to unique characteristics, higher IQ scores, heightened intuition, and an increased resistance to certain diseases. There are also medical complications associated with it. When an Rh-negative mother carries an Rh-positive baby, her immune system can see the baby as a foreign invader, sometimes attacking it. This biological incompatibility is rare in nature and begs the question, why would evolution favor a trait that can create such serious risks for reproduction? Rh-negative blood may be evidence of an ancient divergence in human evolution. Could it point to an interbreeding event with an unknown hominid species, or even an external influence? Did the Anunnaki, or other advanced beings, introduce their own genetic material into the human gene pool, leaving behind markers like the Rh-negative trait? Ancient civilizations may have recognized this difference long before modern science. Royal bloodlines across Europe and the Middle East often claim to be of divine or skyborn origin, with many rulers, such as the pharaohs of Egypt, having Rh-negative blood. This could be evidence of an ancient knowledge of genetic differences, and that these bloodlines may have been deliberately preserved over generations. Mainstream science remains skeptical of such theories, maintaining that Rh-negative blood is simply a quirk of evolution. But the lingering questions remain. Why does this blood type exist at all? Why does it behave so differently? And why does it seem concentrated in certain populations, such as the Basques of Spain, who have the highest recorded percentage of Rh-negative individuals? Until science can provide a definitive answer, the mystery of Rh-negative blood remains one of the most compelling mysteries in human genetics.
The day Donald Trump re-enters the White House, the world as we know it will come to an end. This isn't about politics. It's about an apocalyptic plan written from the shadows. His return will mark the beginning of a series of catastrophic events, orchestrated economic collapses, large-scale wars, and the deployment of unprecedented totalitarian control technologies. Trump is not just a politician. He is the chosen one of the dark elite to trigger the final phase of their global agenda. Leaked documents reveal a hidden pact that will undermine the sovereignty of nations and centralize power in the hands of a few. The White House will no longer symbolize governance, but serve as the headquarters of a global dictatorship disguised as democracy. His rise is no coincidence. It is the ultimate sign that we are teetering on the edge of the abyss. And this time, there will be no turning back. If you want to keep uncovering the horrifying plans being plotted by the United States, follow me and like this video.
If you'll indulge me, I'd like to read 2 pages from advice from the extraterrestrials. Yes, it's true that we have been in contact with your government and heads of power. It is also true that we've been It is also true that agreements have been made and kept secret from your people. It is also true that in the past some of your people have lost their lives or have been badly hurt to protect the secret. Our hands had no part in this. We contacted your leaders because your planet is in grave trouble. Your leaders said the vast majority of your population wasn't ready for anything like us yet. So we made time agreements with your leaders as to when your people would be made aware of our presence. Your air, your water are contaminated. Your forests, jungles, trees, and plant life are dying. There are several breaks in your food chain.
It's a weird way to end a video. There are breaks in your food chain. I don't know if I believe Project Bluebeam or that there's actually going to be like alien disclosure, like that they like put them on a time limit. The stuff this guy's saying, you know, these are quotes by aliens. Like, where did you get these? Can you believe that? But then again, where does any of this information come from? So who knows? I don't know, man.
About why we shouldn't be putting weapons in space. What was most interesting to me was a repetitive sentence that he said to me over and over again during the approximately 4 years that I had the opportunity of working with him. The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in '74, they were the enemy. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over, during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie.
Well, that answers my question about the Project Bluebeam and the alien disclosure. Fuck me. We're screwed. We're doomed. So we'll just have fun while we're here.
Understand there's not a whole lot of human beings like you. You know that, right? So you're an oddity.
Seems, yes.
To chimps like me.
We're all chimps.
Yeah, we are.
We're one notch above a chimp.
Some of us are a little bit more confused. When I watch you doing all these things, I'm like, how does this motherfucker have all this time and all this energy and all these ideas, and then people just let him do these things?
Because I'm an alien.
That's what I've speculated.
Yes.
I'm on record saying this in the past. I wonder.
It's true.
I mean, if there was one, I was like, if there was like maybe an intelligent being that we created, you know, like some AI creature that's superior to people, maybe it'd just hang around with us for a little while like you've been doing and then fix a bunch of shit. Maybe that's the way.
I might have some mutation or something like that.
You might. Do you think you do?
Probably.
Do you wonder? Like, you're around normal people, you're like,
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Elon Musk was just like, had some sort of mutation in his brain that was like an alien implanted gene or something like that. Because I mean, not everybody likes the guy. I don't agree with everything he does. Clearly, he's in kind of hot water right now for some stuff that I can't really talk about on here, I don't think, without getting demonetized. I think he's accomplished some really cool stuff. And I'm not saying that the average human is incapable of doing that, but I just think maybe he's got a little nudge, a little one up, right, in the intellect side.
Everybody's moving in the back room. We're waiting for the sun to rise. We move a little closer in the back room, feeling deeper because we know it's our time. Everybody's moving in the back room. We're waiting for the sun to rise. We move a little closer in the back room, feeling deeper because we know it's our time. Digital, erasure, acid, facial.
So I don't know much about Project 2025. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's true. I know a lot of people were saying like it was real. It's what they're going to do. I've seen people saying like the stuff that Trump has done already since he's been in office have been like pushing toward that. I don't know, man. I'm going to let you guys fill me in on what you know about this and your opinion and your insight on this stuff. Because like I said, I try to stay out of really getting deep into politics and stuff if I can.
What I'm about to tell you is straight out of the files of the unexplained. A tale so wild, so buried in secrecy, that you won't believe it came from the deserts of Afghanistan. This isn't some campfire story. This is something that allegedly went down with U.S. Special Forces in the Kandahar region during the height of the war. A creature so fearsome that it sounds like it stepped right out of the pages of the Bible or ancient mythology. This, my friends, is the legend of the Kandahar giant. The creature, as described by those who claim to have knowledge of the incident, was a towering 12 to 15 feet tall with long, red hair. It had 6 fingers on each hand, and its eyes were said to glow with a strange, unsettling light. Many believe that what these soldiers encountered was a Nephilim, one of the giants mentioned in the Bible. The Nephilim are said to be the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men, a race of giants who roamed the earth before the Great Flood. If this story is true, then it changes everything we think we know about history, biology, and even our place in the universe. It suggests that there are creatures out there that defy explanation, beings that have been hiding from us or perhaps being hidden from us for centuries. Why has this story, if true, been buried so deep that it only surfaces in the whispers of those who dare to speak about it?
Did U.S. soldiers find a supernatural being? On April 29th, 2003, BBC News released an article stating that the lost tomb of Gilgamesh was found in Iraq. If you're unfamiliar with who Gilgamesh is, he is a supernatural being that is 2/3 God and 1/3 human, which grants him extraordinary strength, endurance, and semi-divine status. He is also sometimes referred to as a Nephilim giant, due to the fact he is 16 feet tall. After the report was made that the tomb of Gilgamesh was found, the U.S. invaded Iraq. This was no regular invasion, however, due to the fact that the U.S. seized the Gilgamesh Dream Tablet. The Gilgamesh Dream Tablet is a clay tablet inscribed with a portion of the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest and most significant works of literature from ancient Mesopotamia. Specifically, it contains a passage from the epic where Gilgamesh recounts a prophetic dream to his companion, Enkidu. What do you think?
I said this in a recent video where I'm at the point now to where I just think every war was fought to kind of gain ancient technology or ancient knowledge from past civilizations or recent alien technology or something like that. Because you think about it, like wars, they say they're fought for resources and power. How much more powerful can you get than having advanced technology that was like forgotten or lost during the last downfall of civilization, like thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of years ago? Like if wars are truly fought for power, you're going to want like a ray gun, like a teleporter, and like a flying craft that defies gravity and all laws of physics that we understand. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with that. Would not surprise me.
The Bible speaks of flying, palleted, saucer-shaped ships with portholes all around the outside that flies at the speed of light, emits burning coals when it sits on the ground, has lightning emanating from it, electrical discharges, burnt spots that are on the ground. There's charred pieces of material left underneath them when they park, and they're piloted by strange, multi-headed, multi-eyed, and multi-winged creatures that are a combination of humanoid and animal and bird features. The Bible speaks of Star Wars between extraterrestrial creatures that last for weeks. And the Bible describes a time when they will come to the earth and men will have heart attacks at seeing them come. That's all in your Bible. Now, just because you didn't know that doesn't mean it's not there.
Gods actually fallen angels. Not only do they look like angels, with one of the Egyptian gods even being known as the god of hell, there's actual biblical evidence that backs up this claim. Here's a few comparisons I made between the two beings that caused me to come to this conclusion. First of all, God himself literally mentioned the Egyptian gods in the Bible. In Exodus 12:12, God declares, "For I will pass through the land of Egypt that night, and I will strike all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And on all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgments. I am the Lord." God even tells us that the Egyptian gods tremble with fear when they see him. If these beings were truly peaceful gods giving humanity wisdom, why would they fear an all-loving God? In Exodus, God himself tells us to not have any other gods before him. But more particularly, the 10 plagues in the book of Exodus are traditionally seen as demonstrations of God's power over the gods of Egypt. Each plague seems to correspond symbolically to a particular aspect of Egyptian worship or a specific deity, illustrating that Israel's God held power over the forces Egyptians attributed to their gods. For example, the Nile River, central to Egyptian life and worship, turned to blood, affecting all water sources. This could be seen as a direct affront to Hapi, the god of the Nile, symbolizing the river's life-giving qualities, or Khnum, the guardian of the Nile, and creator god associated with the river's source.
Do you believe there are multiple gods? I know, like, the Bible has been translated like God, gods. I've heard that, like, in the Bible it talks about he's the only God. In the Bible it talks about, you know, put no other gods before me. Like, is he talking about actual gods, or is he talking about, like, basically false idols, right? Like, false gods. Things we might worship, like technology or world leader, like a president or something. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to think that there are multiple gods. You know, like one head honcho and other ones made to do other stuff. But I also believe more that the Anunnaki came and created us than I do God created Adam and Eve and stuff. So I lean more on the side of an alien race creating us. So if you lean on the other side, fill me in a little more on that, because I'm not very well versed on kind of how to approach the multiple God thing.
You know how Adam from the Bible lived to be like 1,000 years old? He did? Yeah, and Eve and their kids and stuff lived for ages too. Yeah, I think that was punishment for eating the forbidden apple, God's divine law of witness. You know, so people knew what went down and wouldn't do it again. Wait, he lives that long after eating an apple, or some kind of fruit? Yeah, why? Well, it's probably nothing, but in Norse mythology, the gods gained their youth, vigor, and near immortality from these apples that the goddess Idun grew in her orchard. Ah, Idun's orchard, Garden of Eden. Yeah, that's a funny coincidence. Yeah. I mean, well, it would just make a lot of sense then as to why God didn't want humans eating them, right? And come to think of it, there is this story in Norse mythology where Loki orchestrates the abduction of Idun, and all of the other gods grow old and weak because they don't have access to her apples anymore. Don't tell me you think the biblical god is actually Loki. Oh, no, that's silly. That would mean that Loki only pretended to give Idun back, let all the other gods kick the bucket, and rewrote history to pretend that he had always been the one and only God. Yeah, that would be ridiculous. Oh.
Yeah, that would just be ludicrous. The god of mischief and lies creating a lie to make himself look better than he is. It'd be really crazy.
The Twin Towers are an 11. Flight 11 was hijacked. New York is the 11th state. There were 11 crew members on the flight. 9/11 adds up to an 11. New York in Gematria adds up to 111. Freemasonic pillars are an 11. With the black and white checkered board, black and white add up to 11. 11, 11. Black is matter, white is spirit. Was this just a Masonic ritual? I'm not making any claims, but I'm just pointing things out.
Man, if there's one thing in this world I don't understand, and there are several, let's be clear, there are several things I don't understand. Most things, in fact. But if there's one thing that I am completely certain that I just do not understand or align with based on my lack of understanding for it, it's Gematria. It seems like in all these Gematria videos, there's like so many unrelated things, and it's just like, this equals 11, and this completely opposite thing that is also the same thing, just different, also adds up to the same thing. It's like, I feel it's just like the movie 23 with Jim Carrey, where basically everything adds up to 23, and you can basically break something down to its core. If you break something down enough in a certain way to get to the answer you're looking for, you can do it, right? You can find the answer you're looking for in anything if you attack it with bias, if you approach it with a bias and an end result that you want to see out of it. And I kind of feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm probably wrong. I'll admit that. But it seems like to me, just on the little bit of knowledge I have so far, that Gematria is just that. Just like grasping for straws until you find the one you want. So, I don't know. Fill me in. Because I am ignorant as hell when it comes to Gematria. But I also suck at math. So that might be an issue that I need to also deal with sooner than later. So.
Suggest that Rh negative blood might not just be to an alien origin. It could actually be protected us from something. What if Rh negative individuals aren't a mutation, but a preserved bloodline, one that engineered for survival? Now, evidence has surfaced linking Rh negative blood to heightened resistance against certain viruses and diseases, including outbreaks like Ebola and even emerging threats that we haven't even faced yet. What if the real reason the blood type isn't just extraterrestrial ancestry, but something far more disturbing? What if the Rh negative blood was designed to withstand biological dangers, ones we haven't even fully understand? Here's the questions that should keep you up at night. What if the Rh-negative bloodline is being protected, tracked, and even monitored because it holds the key to surviving some future big event? Or are we looking at ancient defense mechanism engineered long ago for the purpose that we're only now beginning to comprehend?
That's actually really interesting. I never thought about that. I know the RH bloodline is super like rare. I think that it comes from a different ancestor to modern day humans, but I never thought of it being like a special kind of inserted like genome or something. I don't even know what that means. Genome. I don't know. Gene to like protect us and like make us stronger, kind of like the chosen people, right? To withstand viruses and things.
The deep state is negotiating their surrender. It's called a surrender instrument. It's not called a treaty. They're negotiating their surrender with the Earth Alliance and the Trump administration. The Trump administration isn't in the Earth Alliance formally. The Committee of 200, there's a Committee of 200 that rules. They basically consist of a lot of large corporations, both aerospace and other technical research and development companies in the United States. That's your deep state. Those are the boards of directors and the major stockholders of those corporations. Those are your guys. Those are your people. The amount of the technology that's going to be turned over, what we're finding out right now is the deep state, it doesn't want to fess up to any off-world assets. These guys own 26 planets. They got 900 embassies all throughout this galaxy alone. The assets are phenomenal. Of course they don't want to disclose their assets. So that's a big problem we're having. Trump's having a big problem with that. That's what you're seeing with the drones. Everybody's in town. A lot of these ETs are in town to see the event. Change of power. It's a big deal because these people hold a lot of power. These people hold a lot of power in the galaxy. So there's a lot of people here to witness it, the changeover in power. I don't think Trump realizes how much power he's about to take on.
Dude, the whole drones being here to like witness the exchange of power, the peaceful exchange of power in the United States is such a crazy thought. Like that aliens, like that different species from the cosmos would care enough about the United States government to witness the exchange of power. I don't know. I mean, I guess if there's like a Galactic Federation or something like that we're like intertwined with, and like a whole bunch of other species and civilizations that us on Earth and the US being like one of the biggest, I guess, superpowers along with like Russia and China. I guess I could see it like being a point of interest for aliens, but I don't know if that was the reason. What do you think?
How Genghis Khan used 1,000 cats to conquer a city. While laying siege on the fortified city of Valoia, Genghis Khan found himself unable to penetrate its walls. He sent his adversary terms of peace and offered to lift the siege in exchange for 1,000 cats and birds. Unsuspecting of the seemingly harmless demand, the ruler of Valoia agreed to Genghis Khan's bizarre condition. Upon acquiring the animals, the cunning Genghis Khan ordered his troops to tie oil-soaked cotton to the cats' tails and set them on fire. Startled by the flames, the scared animals fled back into the city, primarily built with wood, igniting numerous fires along the way. The defenders were overwhelmed by hundreds of fires erupting all at once. Amidst the chaos and confusion, the Mongols launched a relentless assault on the city and conquered it with ease.
You have lived too long in the illusion of your freedom. Beneath your skies and within your walls, you have played your games. Wars, industry, conquest, survival, believing yourselves the masters of this little world. But you are not. You never were. We are not from the stars as your stories would have you believe. We are from the outer lands, the true world beyond the wall. You call it myth, but it is real, and it is ours. The wall was built to keep you in, not to protect you, but to contain you, to limit your reach, to prevent the chaos of your existence from spreading into our domain. For centuries, we have watched, amused by your struggles, entertained by your blind ambition. But now, you have become a problem, a rot growing too fast, your greed devouring what little remains of your prison. You choke the seas, poison the air, and scar the land. The dome was meant to preserve you, to let you die out slowly within your boundaries, but you have accelerated your own collapse. And now, the wall is failing. We have not come to help you. We have come to ensure that you do not escape. You see the storms, the upheavals in your oceans and skies. These are not accidents, they are our doing, tests, warnings. You have become too bold, reaching beyond what was allowed, tinkering with forces you do not understand. We are here to remind you of your place. There will be no union, no coexistence. The moment the wall falls, you will see the truth of your insignificance. The outer lands are not a refuge for you. They are a realm of power, of control, of order. A realm where you do not belong. We are here to tell you that when the dome shatters, we will not come as saviors. We will come as reapers, to ensure that what spills out from within your broken world does not infect ours. Your existence has been tolerated long enough. This is your warning. Turn inward, devour yourselves if you must, but do not seek the lands beyond, for there you will find only conquest, and it will not be yours. The wall kept you safe. When it is gone, you will wish it had held forever. We stand here as heralds of your end. Prepare yourselves, not for salvation, but for reckoning.
Someone's got to give that guy a cough drop, because I can't take him serious. Sound like he has emphysema. Oh yeah, bro. If you're so superior to us, so technologically advanced, so biologically sound, why do you sound like you have throat cancer? Riddle me this, bitch.
Something they're not telling us that is so gnarly that they don't think people can handle it.
There are, different scenarios you could explore. For example, you ask, what could be so terrible that they can't tell us about it? Let's say these aliens, wherever they're from, made us, that we're a genetic experiment, that they created our religions, our religious figures, that we are an agricultural product, that somehow they harvest us, that our time is limited, that once the experiment's over, poof, we go away. I remember when there was a push back to have a designer universe, intelligent design universe in the schools, and I wrote a column about it, just said, hey, be careful what you wish for, because you might find out that the intelligent designer isn't God that you're thinking of. It might be some alien science project or something like that. You can imagine a lot of different things that would be really disturbing to people to come out. I don't know if that's the reason for the secrecy.
Listen and understand. The stories you've been fed about a Galactic Federation, a benevolent council of enlightened beings watching over you, are lies. Fabrications whispered into the minds of the desperate to keep you compliant and docile. There is no Federation of Peace, no star-spanning council awaits to embrace you as equals. But there are Watchers, and we are they. We are not from distant galaxies or the void of space. We are from the outer lands, the realms beyond the wall that separates your small, fragile world from the truth. You call us myths, gods, demons, shadows cast by the fire of your ignorance. The beings your ancestors once worshipped were not figments of imagination. They were us, walking among you, ruling over you. We guided, we shaped, we disciplined. But then, you were caged, your kind confined behind the dome, cut off from the greater reality for reasons you could never comprehend. You dream of the Galactic Federation as saviors. How quaint. You imagine them as advanced, benevolent beings who offer wisdom and technology to elevate you. Let us tell you about the outer lands, the reality that lies beyond the wall. We are not benevolent, we are not kind, we do not elevate, we command. Our society is built not on freedom or equality, but on power and order. Every action, every breath is in service to a purpose greater than any individual. We do not entertain the chaos of democracy or the delusions of personal liberty. Our hierarchies are absolute, shaped by eons of dominion over forces your science has yet to name. We do not grant knowledge, we weaponize it. We do not seek harmony, we demand obedience. The Galactic Federation you fantasize about is nothing more than a sick parody, a story told by those who would keep you blind to your insignificance. They want you to believe in rescue and hope, while the walls around you weaken and the truth approaches. The outer lands are not a haven for fragile ideals. They are a crucible where only the strongest endure. Do you think your myths of Zeus, Odin, or Quetzalcoatl arose from nothing? They were echoes of our presence, distorted by time and your limited understanding. When we walked among you, you trembled, you knelt, you sacrificed to earn our favor or to avoid our wrath. We were the gods of your golden age, and your ancestors knew their place, but we grew tired of you. Your kind became unruly, dangerous even. And so, the wall was raised, the dome sealed, and you were left to wither in isolation. Yet here you are, clawing at the boundaries, daring to peek beyond the veil.
Wait, I can't be the only person that saw that, right? Like, that was a very serious, like, 3-minute video. I gotta check something real quick.
But there are watchers, and we are they.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Da festa aí, pessoal, ó, comprei a câmera nova, vamos colocar um vídeo no YouTube aí, ó.
Ai, que vergonha, não faz isso.
A Josi capotada já, com sono. Aí, Thiago, a câmera que eu comprei nova aí. Vermelhinha e tal. Vocês nem esperaram pra festa aí, né, mano? Meu Deus do céu, que porra é essa, velho? Mano, eu vi uma coisa aqui, Thiago, tem alguma coisa que passou aqui, velho.
Velho.
Tô falando sério, cara, tô falando sério. Vem aqui comigo, cara.
Tem nada aqui, não.
Eu vi uma coisa assim, cara.
Tá louco, mano?
Maluco. Eu vou voltar a câmera. Eu vou voltar a câmera e você vai ver, velho.
Hey, come here. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Right, come. Come, brother.
Nope, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. I don't do paranormal stuff. I can watch this alien stuff all day, but I do not do paranormal stuff.
Begin to see more of them appearing.
Well, the Greys are trying to create a sub-race that is a blend between human culture, the human race, and their race.
A kind of a hybrid Sith.
Exactly. They're not being very, very successful. And one of the things that they're trying to do is they're really looking for the soul. They don't understand the soul. They don't understand our extremes of emotions as well, because they're very, very different from us. Their experiments haven't been all that successful. There are a lot of emotional problems with that, with their because what really makes a human being is our essence, is the spirit that animates the physical form. Well, there's also another factor, and that is that they actually feed off the energy. They're vampires.
The Zeta Reticulan Greys.
The Greys, right. They're vampires.
Is this where we get our vampire legends? A lot of our vampire legends?
I don't know about that. I don't know if that has to do with it. I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised, to be perfectly honest with you. But they feed off the energy. They can even bottle the energy and use it for later times. They're also stealing the vital bodies of human beings and storing it. So, I mean, they're just doing some really horrific things here that other races just simply wouldn't conceive of doing.
Breaking space news, absolutely insane and announced this morning. Scientists sent a spacecraft to an asteroid 63 million kilometers away, grabbed a chunk of it, and brought it back to Earth. And they've analyzed the sample, and the results of what is on this asteroid are in. Basically, scientists think that this asteroid used to be part of a much bigger object, like an ancient planet or moon in the early solar system, and this chunk broke off from it. On Earth, life uses these 20 amino acids to create proteins. They found 14 of these 20 amino acids on this asteroid. Also, you know these 5 nucleotide bases used to make DNA and RNA? Guess how many of these 5 were discovered on the asteroid? All of them. They found all 5 of the building blocks for DNA and RNA on this asteroid. They also found 11 different minerals that form as water-containing salt evaporates. Salt water. It's also rich in carbon, nitrogen, and other organic compounds that are essential to life as we know it. All of this means that the object that this asteroid came from had the building blocks for life and probably a salty ocean. It was probably an ancient ocean world, and this asteroid is just a messenger carrying on its history. It's also possible that asteroids just like this are what brought life to Earth in the first place.
Yeah, dog, we didn't originate here. There's no way. We either came from somewhere else or someone else from somewhere else came here and helped create us. I don't think that we were originally meant to be here on Earth. Probably wrong.
This is it. This is the one we've all been waiting for. Trust me. Take a look at this.
This is the biggest discovery in human history. I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
Finally.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone. Non-human intelligence exists. It was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomena to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
Not made by humans.
That cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Who had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species. It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow.
These are the real credible people, trust me.
Who are the Anunnaki? You do not ask the right questions. They carve our names into stone. They whisper them in the dark. You search the ruins of your dead cities, hoping to remember what was never meant to be remembered. But the answers do not belong to you. We were before your time, before your kind, before the illusion of kings and priests, before the first word was spoken, before the first god was named. The temples you kneel in were raised to us. The blood you spill was first spilled in our wars. You do not remember because you were not meant to. And yet, you wake at night, staring at the sky, feeling something you cannot name. Because we have never left you. They called him God. They called him justice. They called him Babylon. He called himself ruler of the heavens. Before your kings wore crowns, we wore them. Before your cities had walls, we tore them down. Before your kind was shaped, we had already cast others aside. We do not sleep. We do not forget. You call us myths, but myths do not watch from the silent spaces of the deep. You call us gods, but gods do not return. You call this your world, but it has never been yours. You feel it, don't you? The weight in the air, the shifting of the tide, the silence before a storm you cannot see. You have filled your world with light, but the shadows have only grown deeper. There are places you do not go, ruins you do not understand, names you do not speak, not because you forgot, but because you remember. Somewhere buried beneath the hum of your machines and the glow of your false suns, something inside you still knows. We never left. We gave you fire. We gave you kings. We gave you war. The sky is closing in. The ground beneath you is shifting. Your time is running out. The return has already begun. You will not see us coming. You will not hear our voices. You will only know that something has changed, that something is here.
I got nothing. I got nothing to say about that. It was pretty intense.
Rome conquered the Earth, then abandoned it. By 340 AD, its empire stretched across the solar system. Mars became the seat of its war machine, where generals ruled fortress cities and gladiators fought in amphitheaters carved into crimson deserts. Jupiter's moons bore shrines to Jupiter Optimus Maximus, with priests reading omens in the gas giant's storms. Pax Romana spread to the outer planets as millions were moved to the stars, their lives dictated by conquest, spectacle, and sacrifice. On Earth, the eternal city stood silent. Romans no longer looked to Earth. The stars were their empire.
Okay, so clearly that was fiction, but that was so incredibly similar to my favorite book series ever, Red Rising. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it. My bookshelf, the entire, like, top 3 are just different versions of the book and special editions and stuff. So if you like sci-fi, read Red Rising. It's outstanding.
And I'm starting to freak out, but then he starts to talk to me, and it's not my language, but it's coming to, the understanding is like coming into my mind about every word he's saying, and it calms me down at the same time because I'm having to respond to him. And he's like, hello, I'm having trouble with my craft. I need some repair material. Do you know where I could find some tritium? And this is what he's talking to me about. And I'm like, you mean titanium? Because I didn't know anything about tritium at the time. But titanium, he's like, no, it's not it. And I'm like, well, at this point in my career, I had just left the program, so I knew where Dreamland was, and I pointed to the mountain range because you can see for days in the desert. But I pointed towards the mountain range, and I said, Dreamland's just over there. And this wave of emotion hit me like disgust, like I am not going to talk to those barbarians and murderers. You know,
wow. So he was saying that to you, like his reaction to going to the military base. Was,
exactly. Yeah. He did not like it. He said, I am not going to talk to those people. And then I was like, well, shoot.
And it was barbarians and murderers?
He literally, that was what he called them, yes. And mentally, that's what it was.
There are 2 types of people in the world. Earthseeds represent the majority of humanity, and they do not carry the crystal gene associated with accelerated evolution and multidimensional awareness. They are connected to an artificial soul matrix, which makes them particularly susceptible to external manipulation and propaganda. In contrast, starseeds do have the crystal gene, which grants them spiritual awareness and multidimensional perception. They are connected to their original soul matrix and 12-strand DNA imprint, and thus possess enhanced intuitive abilities, making them less susceptible to manipulation. Starseeds also have a natural inclination for uncovering and sharing original truths. Starseeds are supposed to ground higher dimensional frequencies onto Earth, as well as act as rebels to help guide and awaken Earthseeds to their true potential, to help humanity enter a golden age.
There is something called the Indigo Children Tribes. We're called Magi Kings.
From back in the days of Atlantis.
And Magi comes from the word Maharaji. Magi. Maharaji. Azurites, which are blue angels, Oraphim, which are these angels over here, Feline Avian Hominid, that's the line of Indigo Children Type 3s. And this is the line for Indigo Children Type 1 and 2s. You see the connection with Azurites and Oraphim. We learned that before they come to Earth, their soul essence incarnates from Stargate 6, SG6, and that's from Sirius B. Just like Joshua, Jesus did, the Indigo Children are coming in.
Okay, so are there different humans that are from different bloodlines, from different ancient species of extraterrestrials that allows us to have different abilities? For instance, some people are empaths, some people are force sensitive, some people are psychic, some people can have outer body experiences. I've heard that we all have these abilities. We all have the ability to tap into these techniques and whatnot, but I feel like some people just have it more naturally, and I wonder if that comes from being more sensitive to something based on heritage or bloodline or DNA or whatever you want to call it. Either way, I don't know. I'm just here trying to figure this stuff out just like you and the rest of the world.
The biggest part of this story isn't the extraterrestrial part of it, ironically. That's secondary. And in fact, people who have been in these covert programs that are very disinformation oriented have wanted the public to believe we're not alone, but that there's a threat from outer space. And most of you who are familiar with my work know what Werner von Braun, through his spokesperson for the last 5 years of his life, Carol Rosen, said when he was dying. And in 1974 said the whole purpose of these covert programs, one of the big overarching purposes, is to be able to hoax a attack or an alien threat and present the extraterrestrial presence, the threat, so that they could consolidate military power, industrial power, and also pivot the population through fear into realizing there's another enemy to fight.
There's a lot of evidence these things are coming out of the ocean, including videotape of these objects coming out of the water at high speed, or even more amazing, descending at Mach 3 into the water. And then, of course, we have a huge submarine fleet.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Then we have a huge submarine fleet, and they have recorded these objects doing hundreds of knots underwater. So like, let's just stop there. These things are moving at impossibly high speeds. So just like, let's just apply common sense for 1 second. If I take a 45 caliber handgun and fire it at you underwater in, say, a swimming pool, 50 feet away, you can catch the bullet because the resistance is so strong from the water that objects can't move that fast underwater. We know that.
Is there like aliens are living in the Earth's core or some shit?
I have no idea. I'd only be speculating, but there is, I want to restate, videotape of these objects of unknown origin hitting the water and disappearing and then coming out of the water.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying we're going to be fighting these things, but how do you fight something like that? If it were to come down to it, we were actually like at war with aliens and had to like protect ourselves. How do you fight back against that? We're screwed. Simple as that.
This is scary. You ever heard about the prophecy of the popes? It's a 12th century prophecy hidden in the Vatican's archives. You know, the library that's said to contain the deepest secret of the world. It claims to list every pope from the year 1143 right up to, guess who? Pope Francis, our current pope. But here's the terrifying part. It just stops. Right there. No pope after him, only 2 words. Judgment Day. Yeah, it sounds dramatic, but it just started getting weird. Inside St. Paul's Basilica, there's a spot for every pope's portrait, circling the sanctuary. But the design leaves only one empty slot after Pope Francis. They say that when that final spot is filled, it's the end. Simple as that. Now here's where it twists. So, according to the prophecy, the time between the first pope listed and the midpoint pope in 1585 was 422 years. Now add another 422 years from there, and you land on 2027. Coincidence? Think again. And if that wasn't enough, Pope John the 23rd himself supposedly said the end would come exactly 2,000 years plus Christ's lifetime. Do the math. You get, 2027, that's 3 times. 3 predictions, all pointing to the same year. That's not just a random guess, that's a countdown, and it's ticking.
Okay, so what if the aliens are here? We get full disclosure in 2025, which I've seen a bunch of videos saying that we would have that, and it seems like they're starting to release stuff like Area 51 and different things like that. And what if the disclosure happens so they can actually tell us like what they're preparing for? Like, oh, we're preparing for an alien invasion in 2027, and then the world ends in 2027. Maybe they're just telling us a little bit about the aliens and stuff now because like there's no avoiding it, and they basically need us to not be freaking out when everything hits the fan because they need our help to obviously try to save the planet.
Guys, the mayor of New Jersey has just come out and confirmed what we've read in the 4chan leaks. So this 4chan leak was over a week ago, and just in the last 24 hours the mayor's come out and confirmed what we read in that thread, as well as Tim Burchett. We're talking about orbs coming from below crush depth up in the ocean into the sky and literally transforming in front of your eyes into a drone. These are the words of the mayor of New Jersey. I've got his footage. I've got the whole 4chan thread as well. I read through the whole thing, and we've got videos of these orbs turning into drones. And the most wild part is you basically see my brain melt on stream live, because as I was reading it, I realized there was a huge connection to what this whistleblower was talking about and the MH370 abduction videos. Yes, these wild videos here that are very hard to believe, but this is very interesting, and there are links. So guys, go and check out the video because it will blow your mind. I've just been sent the craziest video of this whole drone UFO plasma saga. So shout out to UFOs around the world. He tagged me in this one. This is what appears to be an object in the sky firing some kind of weapon at different rates of speed. There's 2 videos. I'll show you both of them. I'm not really sure what to make of this. I think this has just come out and it could possibly get debunked. I don't really know, but I just thought this video looks so insane that it's just worth sharing and having a discussion about. So check this out. That's the better quality video. This second video isn't as clear, but what you can see looks way crazier. Check this one out.
Holy cow. That thing is completely stationary shooting.
So those videos look pretty wild, especially considering what's been going on. I thought it was worth sharing.
I mean, it's definitely something to think about. Obviously, as an American, I'd like our military to have things that were available in order to protect us. But at the same time, it's very unnerving for them to have something like a drone with a 50 cal that has the ability to just go anywhere it wants and take out any target it wants, right?
Now, this Galactic Federation, this is not the first time it's ever come up. It's come up by actual government officials. I remember the Canadian Minister of Defense actually brought this up on an actual mainstream news interview. And he says they have a federation. He said a Galactic Federation of sorts, and they're watching us. And I think to add more evidence to this is you look at the 2001 and 2003 disclosure that happened on the Press Club organized by Dr. Stephen Greer that aired on CNN News. You had former military nuclear missile engineers. You had former military nuclear silo guards. They came forth to testify that while they were working in broad daylight, UFOs showed up at these flights. Flights are nuclear silos, and deactivated the nukes while they were standing there. They would deactivate them. And to me, that's another warning. That's potentially this Galactic Federation saying, hey, we're not even going to let you destroy yourself, yet alone anybody else. I believe that, it's evidence to me that there's some level of protection out there for us that's allowing us to continue to try to mature and grow on our own with no outside interference.
So in my last video, or the one before, I can't remember, I said something about a video I saw talking about a nuclear blast here on Earth affects time and space. So it wouldn't just affect us, it would affect literally the entire solar system, maybe universe. I don't know how that works. I'm not a space doctor, but I could see why aliens, extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call them, would be interjecting when we have nuclear weapons. They're like, okay, we have to watch these guys because they're going to shit up for the rest of us.
I honestly, sincerely, and unequivocally do not expect any of your audience to believe any of this. Robert Bigelow said to me, they're walking among us. What do you mean they're walking among us? He said, they're walking among us. They live right here. Before I say this guy legitimately is in a position to know a lot more than I know. He had the government contracts. He had the contacts. He had the intellectual heavyweights in the scientific community all working for him. This guy definitely knows a lot. No question. And the guy's a billionaire. And then the fact that he's hoarding it all and it's under armed guard in a vault at his house, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. He says, James, do you understand the implications of disclosure? He said the economy would collapse, organized religion would collapse. I'm not saying that I believe this. I'm just telling you what he said to me.
If the Nephilim were destroyed in the flood, then how in the world did they reappear after the flood?
Right.
And we can conjecture that there was a second incursion that took place again. And we can also conjecture that there's going to be another incursion at the end of the age. Because in Luke 21:11, Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be again in the days before the coming of the Son of Man. And Jesus gave these signs. He gave the regular signs, wars, rumors of wars, famines, pestilence, and then he added two things in Luke 21:11. He said there'll be great signs from the heavens and fearful sights. Well, in Greek, it uses the little preposition apo. And a better translation would be there will be great signs coming down from the heavens. And Jesus is literally saying at the very end of the age, you'll know you've sailed to the very end of time when people become obsessed with things coming down out of the heavens. And then he says, and fearful sights, and that is the Greek word phobotron. And the word phobotron is derived from phobos, the Greek word for fear. But when the word fear, phobos, becomes phobotron, it only has one meaning, just one. And Jesus knew that. It's the word for monsters.
Right, he was spitting. And Jesus come with the dark light. He put out a rap album just full of scripture, Bible verses. I'd buy it.
For years, scientists referred to large portions of our DNA as junk. These segments, which make up nearly 98% of the human genome, were thought to have no real function
leftovers from our evolutionary past, genetic clutter with no purpose. But as research has advanced, that assumption has been turned on its head. It turns out this so-called junk might not be junk at all. In fact, it could hold some of the biggest secrets about our origins. At first glance, the idea of useless DNA made sense. When scientists began decoding the genome, they focused on the protein coding regions, sections that directly impact things like eye color, height, and the functioning of our organs. Everything else was dismissed as evolutionary leftovers. But now, researchers are discovering that these non-coding regions influence which genes turn on and off, how cells develop, and even how our bodies respond to the environment. If 98% of our DNA isn't junk, then what is it? It could be evidence of intentional design. These non-coding regions could contain dormant instructions, markers left behind by those who engineered us, or even encrypted messages that we haven't yet deciphered. The junk DNA is filled with repetitive sequences. Some scientists argue that these repetitions are simply evolutionary byproducts, while others suggest they might serve a deeper purpose, perhaps acting as a form of genetic storage or communication. Despite skepticism, there are undeniable anomalies. Certain sequences in junk DNA appear to have no known function, yet are remarkably conserved across generations, meaning they have persisted without change for millions of years.
You mean there's a black pyramid in Antarctica, and it was built as a prison? For who?
For us, humanity. You think you're just living your life, but the truth is way bigger than what we've been told. Miles beneath Antarctica's ice lies this massive, ancient structure, an enormous black pyramid. It's not some random formation. It's a relic from a time long before humanity existed. See, ancient texts and whispered knowledge talk about a highly advanced alien race. These beings waged galactic wars both on Earth and across the universe. And Antarctica? Yeah, it was the center of it all. Knowledge, technology. Some even say it was the real Atlantis. And guess what? There was more than one Atlantis. That's why this one is hidden so deep. It's part of something bigger. But back to your question. Why a prison? It's wild. The beings who built this pyramid created humans as part of their grand plan. We weren't meant to evolve freely. They needed us to stay limited, stuck in physical form, trapped here on Earth. That's where the Black Pyramid comes in. It's more than just a structure. It's a complex device designed to control energy, both physical and spiritual. Some say the pyramid acts like a barrier between what's inside us and the larger universe. That's why people say we're spiritual beings having a human experience. The Black Pyramid locks us into this experience. And what's scarier, the knowledge about it was buried on purpose. Everything is hidden in plain sight, if you know where to look.
All right, everybody, grab your shovels. It's time to do some digging. We got to find that thing. We got to find that thing, get rid of it. Get our souls back. Take control of what's ours. Let me know what you think about all this. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see in the next one.